Hello, everyone. So I finally finished watching all 8 episodes of Wednesday on Netflix. So this is, of course, directed and written from the imagination of Tim Burton, all about Wednesday Addams from the Addams Family. So it's a bit of a spin-off when she is of high school age. I believe Wednesday is 15 or 16. They say it at some point in the show. I just can't exactly remember, but somewhere around high school age. But Jenna Ortega is in the titular role of Wednesday Addams, and it stars Gwendolyn Christie as well. There's Fred Armisen in this. It actually has a pretty solid cast behind it. But yes, all 8 episodes are on Netflix now. Each episode's around the 50-minute mark, some a little longer than most, but usually around 50 minutes. So without further ado, let me get into my review for season 1 of Wednesday on Netflix. So the first season of Wednesday follows Wednesday Addams as a student at Nevermore Academy. She basically gets sent there after being kicked out of every single normal high school within the area that her family has tried to put her into. And the way that she or the incidents that gets her sent to Nevermore Academy is actually pretty hilarious. They show in the opening minutes of this series. But she's doing it to defend her brother Pugsley, but of course too, just with the events that transpire, her parents have kind of tried to steer away from having her follow in their footsteps for going to Nevermore Academy, but in order to kind of set things right, unlock her potential and things like that, they send her to this academy that's run by Gwendolyn Christie's character, and she basically attempts to master her emerging psychic ability and thwart and solve a mystery that has embroiled her parents within it as well, that again slowly unravels through the entirety of this season. That involves, well, it starts off with murders of just local people within the premises of Nevermore Academy, but then eventually the students and faculty members within Nevermore Academy. So Wednesday takes on this mystery pretty much herself, and of course in her own fashion uses a lot of people and a lot of things to again reach the end goal and figure this out for herself. There's quite a lot to talk about within this show, but kind of first off, starting with it's the performance by Jenna Ortega, and this is absolutely brilliant. From everything that I've watched with the Addams Family before this, she just nails the role. She absolutely kills it. I loved her performance within it. It's just the little details, things about how she doesn't blink, her mannerisms and her movements, just kind of little Kubrick stare that she does at most points within this, I just found was absolutely brilliant within it. And again, to just her mannerisms and everything are so perfect to what I know Wednesday to be. And it did a really good job diving into, again, her psyche and how that makes her vulnerable in a lot of ways, where she uses it as, again, being cold as a way to protect herself in a lot of ways, but that makes her very vulnerable and lonely. And they did really dissect it in a very good and interesting way within this that I found really built up her character in a, again, just an extremely interesting way throughout the entirety of this season. This show does have some very, very good characters, some very, very goofy, but of course is what they're going for. It fits right into the Tim Burton style. There are a few side characters who I found were neglected a little more than they should have, or they're just weaker than I feel like they could have been given a little bit more time to grow on the screen, or again, to just more scenarios for them to show off their abilities, their powers, their own psyches and things like that. It's what have made them a little bit stronger, but I can't say there was a character that I disliked or I thought was so weak that didn't really need to be in the show at all. It did a good job setting up the groundwork for what could come for future seasons, and wrapped up again to the storyline in a decent way that can still grow within future seasons. They kind of confirmed that at the very least they want to do more seasons, which I'm more than excited for if they're able to do it. It's because, again, too, just the world that Tim Burton was able to create here, the students, the whole mystery, which was just very, very well crafted, I found, was just something I'm very, very excited to see more of in future seasons. Fred Armisen makes an appearance as Uncle Fester, which I found he was absolutely brilliant and really, really liked his performance in it. He was goofy, he was fun, he was so smart. And again, to the rest of the Addams Family that we're able to see within this show, I just found was very, very good in it too. It added a lot more depth to their characters within this kind of darker mystery version within the show that, again, too, was just very well crafted for a mystery film, and I really, really enjoyed everything that they were able to put together within it. It's just very, very fun to watch, and again, too, like I said, with the mystery, a lot more complex than I thought it was going to be, that was able to stretch throughout the entirety of the season. Of course, there are some little things that you're able to pick out about who's done it, but still in ways that I was questioning if I was right until they revealed the moment. So I never want to say that the mystery was predictable, but it was, again, too, it was just way better than I thought it was going to be. One thing too that really impressed me with this is when it came to the handling of things. So the hands, the severed hand that runs around, just the mannerisms. I mean, they've always been able to do this within any Adams Family media, but I just really like the mannerisms that they were able to give him. The way that he was able to do like parkour and speak, and again, to just his movements were very, very well crafted. I like the little, whenever he was excited about something he did, he would do the little like gesture like that on a surface. It was, I really, really liked thing, and I found they gave, again, to him so much depth. Or just being a severed hands, he was a character that you absolutely grew to love, and he was very integral and important to the storytelling within this show. um yeah, there's just really a lot to like about it. The only things that, again, I can really like nitpick or gripe about within the show is, again, some of the side characters are a little weak. There are a few fight scenes within this show that um the final one in the final episode started off pretty good, but I felt was cut a little short. But a lot of the fight scenes, again, are flashy. They're really fun and cool to look at. But if you really want to dissect and be nitpicky about them, a lot of the times you can see the punches aren't landing. They're way too far away to land. Just kind of goofy in that sense, where I feel like it needs to be a little bit tighter and directed in a better way for the fights to truly work and feel real in a lot of ways. But again, too, they're very flashy. They're fun to look at. But if you really dissect them, there are a few problems with it. And then too, the CGI within the show never was bad, but it was really goofy in a lot of ways, or sometimes it didn't feel polished enough to truly work within the scene, where it felt like a lot of these creatures and just, again, CGI that they're adding into the show felt like it was out of place. It looked out of place and not within, again, to kind of what they might have been going for in terms of their budgets, where it should have looked better in a lot of ways. And I feel like it would have, again, too, just created a lot more of a fear sense, which it seemed like a lot of times that they needed CG for. It was in a sense to create and establish fear of some scary creature, but sometimes you laugh that it just looks a little goofy and almost like PlayStation cutscene in a lot of ways. But again, too, never in a way that made me not want to watch the show or absolutely knock it or say that it was terrible. It just, it felt like it needed to be a little more polished. But truly, throughout the entire 8 episodes of the season, I had a lot of fun with it, and it explored the worlds. There's, of course, there's Nevermore Academy. There's a few towns that are nearby, and just the grounds of it were created just a very, very cool atmosphere that Tim Burton was, again, too, it's right up his alley when it comes to his cinematography, his directing, his gothic style. It worked amazingly for the Addams Family world, where in scenes where Wednesday had to be out of place, just, again, to her costume design and the way that they filmed it to show how out of place she was, but still thrived in this environment that she shouldn't have been in, was really, really cool. I like the way that they showed that. A few of the scenes I can think for were just the very bright areas of Nevermore Academy, where she's wearing all black, or there's a certain ball scene or a dance scene where everyone's dressed in all white and Wednesday's in her black dress, and just the movements and everything that Jenna was doing within the scenes were, well, the lighting effects in that one dance scene are really cool for one, and just the cinematography, and it's really, really cool. But again, too, just the moves and how out of place her movements were, but still working amazingly within her style within the song, was something just very, very awesome and fun to watch. Super creative is definitely the way that it's one of the words I would definitely describe this show. Very unique, very creative. It just brought the Addams Family world into kind of this modern day, modern tech of filming that was just done really, really well. And I'm very excited to see this show grow in terms of its budget, in terms of its story, in terms of so many things coming up in future seasons. And again, too, Jenna Ortega was absolutely amazing in it. She's everything I could have wanted from a Wednesday Addams portrayal. Very, very well done. And really, with everything taken together, I'm going to have to give the first season of Wednesday an 8 out of 10. Highly recommended on Netflix, whether you've seen the Addams Family, anything of the Addams Family before or not. It does a pretty good job explaining the basic things that you would need to know about the Addams Family before going into it. And again, to just opening up this whole new world for fans of the Addams Family, everything that came before it, which I really, really appreciate how they're able to do that. So if you've seen Wednesday on Netflix, please let me know what your thoughts about it were in the comments down below. And of course, if you like this review, definitely give it a thumbs up, and you check out everything I do on this channel. I like to play this up top here for convenience sake. Thank you for subscribing and turn that little ringer on so you know when I upload new videos. And if you want to check out the description of this video on my channel bio, there's a link to the Media Mountain, which is my Discord where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV, pretty much everything that's awesome in this world. So you can definitely join that amazing community, help make it even more amazing than this already. And yeah, just awesome, guys.
Sky blue eyes, I see a world behind them. No more time sinking into the side.